Howdy, howdy, howdy. Good evening and welcome to another Sunday night here at Poe on the Go. And when I welcome everybody that's here, we'll give it a minute or two, let other people catch on up with us. But before we get started, you know how these things work. Let's bring in our good friend, Clearwater Chad. How
Hey,
we
Paul,
doing,
thanks for
Chad?
having me. Good,
Oh,
good. How
as
you doing?
always. Before we get started, you know how these things work.
Turn that down.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Let's see here. I'm just looking at some of the... okay. I was looking at some of the comments over here. Looks like we got a pretty good crowd in here tonight.
Yeah, looks like we have some new people, Paul.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's great.
Nasty
Welcome,
Nathaniel's in here. Of course, the legendary First Amendment auditor is here. The man who encouraged you to give it a try, see what you thought. Colonel Brock. Makmir Doshagal is here. Freezino Project. Let's see here. Get on down here. A lot of... I love seeing you guys chat back and forth in the chat room like that. Mary. Welcome, Mary. And let's see. Hey, Two-Bit. You got some more knowledge for us tonight? You were burning it up the other night. Gail Estes. And let's see who else we got in here. Hey, Maggot, what's going on? Jenny Wong, howdy. Let's see. Oh, hey, Destone, what's going on? Nerman's in the house tonight. Marianne Emelson. All right, thank you, folks. So, Chad, when you think of a scammer or fraud, what do you think?
Of a person, or just
someone who's committing it.
Oh, like the company, like Scientology, or like a Grant Cardone?
Just a person. Well, it's interesting that when you when I ask for what you think about it, that's two of the first things that come up.
Yeah.
And we'll just go ahead and put it up there for everybody to see the way that the dictionary defines it. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay, this is from the dictionary. Fraud, wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. Used in a sentence, he was convicted of fraud. And then it goes on further. A person or thing intended to deceive others, typically by unjustifiably claiming or being credited with accomplishments or qualities. What comes to mind on that? When you hear that, Chad?
Yeah. Well, same answer. Grant Cardone and Scientology.
Let's see. We got Tawny Cameron is in here. Grand Theft Oopty. Howdy. And Gnome Sane is in here. And thank you, Gnome. We already got us a question. Let's see here from Gnome. Did you see the 24 cases of fraud I posted as comments in your previous video? I saw something of it. Yes. I've been doing nothing but looking at all these cases that are out there and what's going on with it. Let's see, Mary, where did it go? There we go. Mary, I've never been a Scientologist, but I'm a concerned citizen family member, not to talk about myself, but just an introduction. Well, welcome. And neither Chad nor I are formers. We're part of the Never Ends group of the SPTV. I literally spent over 30 years in law enforcement, always working in cases like human trafficking, those kinds of things, and became enthralled by the Going Clear movie, and then of course the Aftermath show with Lily and Mikey, and then found my way with Aaron Smith-Levin, who brought me on a live stream, and it's been rolling since then. And Chad, if you would let them know your history there.
Oh, okay. Well, my work history is a little different. Most of my working career was in the automotive aftermarket and parts. Now I work at a university. And as for Scientology, I watched the Aftermath and I loved it. I watched it several times, and then after that, I found Aaron. Growing up in Scientology, Aaron's channel, and I was addicted to that. And he did the challenge to come up with the character Clearwater Chad, and I took him up on it. So I do have my own channel called Clearwater Chad if anyone wants to check that out. and I've been doing that stuff ever since.
And Chad and I became friends early on in these endeavors, and he's a part of the channel now. I mean, these Sunday nights, I always have Chad in working with me on these things, and to me, it's an honor, and he's a real asset to the channel. So
It's great to be here.
let's see. Oh, thank you, sir. Destoni Salazar, where do you think Tony Robbins falls in the scammer scale? I honestly, from what I've seen, I think that he believes in what he teaches. I could be completely wrong. I'm generally pretty good about reading people, but he seems to be committed, and it was, that I honestly think he believes in it. What do you think, Chad?
It's from the little I know about him, it sounds like it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think he believes in it. If he doesn't now, I believe at some point he was truly invested in it. It was hard for me to watch Ron on the Aftermath. So heart-wrenching. Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I got so committed to it myself, was seeing these folks and hearing their stories and seeing what was going on. And unbelievably, my phone just buzzed to let me know that Poe on the Go is going live.
Nice.
Wow.
Right on time.
We're only 7 minutes into it. Thank you, YouTube. So yeah, my goodness. That's what got me, as someone who I've spent the majority of my life standing up for those who can't defend themselves, and seeing what was going on with these folks, with what had happened with them leaving Scientology or blowing. And it just, I wanted to help. And when Aaron Smith Levin asked if anyone had a law enforcement background, could talk about some of the possible criminal actions that were going on, I was like, you got me, bud, I'm in. So sorry, I can't remember it's like looking in a mirror with the way this camera is working. Let's see. Denver Steve-O, welcome, brother. Welcome. Down with the scammers and grifters. Chad, got anything to say for your live stream partner there?
Oh, it's good. Always great to see Denver Steve-O.
Yeah, good guy. I was really enjoying that live stream you guys were having. What was that, last night with Turi? Is that his name?
I believe it was. Yesterday. Yeah,
about the Jets and everything. Yeah, he and I gotta talk sometime. I bet we've got some great stuff.
Yeah, maybe me and him could do a stream together about Jets.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Or you guys, whatever you want.
Well, no, we can do it. We can do it on your channel. That's cool. Haven't seen Aaron in a documentary, so I must not have seen the Aftermath. Well, you've probably seen the Aftermath. I mean, how many episodes were there of the Aftermath show?
39, I believe. 3 seasons. I could be mistaken.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, look it up. I heard someone say that though.
It says there's 13 episodes. That can't be right.
I thought there was 3 seasons of 13.
Let's see here. Number of episodes, 13. Well, now I mean Wikipedia is showing it as only 1 season. So I'd say, yeah, probably almost close to 40 episodes with having 3 seasons, and they were doing 13. Who needs the watch hours, Chad or Poe? Well, we're both monetized. So and I don't mind.
I'm a guest.
Yeah, I'll jump right on Chad's. It doesn't bother me. I don't do this for the money, folks. I don't. I really enjoy doing this, and I like trying to build a community. And you were saying you agree. I mean, for me, this isn't about the financial gains or stuff like that. Yeah, there's the buy me a coffee and things like that, but that any of that money that comes in from that specifically goes towards upgrades. Like one of the things I'm wanting to do right now is I want to buy a nicer live stream and content filming camera, so that the money that's coming in, that's going into the account to save up for that camera. And I'm retired, so I'm on even though we own a courier service, I still have somewhat of a fixed income, and so I save up for things if I want them now. So, but I'm not hurting. I don't do this for the money. Let's see. Freezinu says the YouTube notifications are ran by the Writers Guild.
Mm-hmm.
We're lucky we get them at all. Dimmer Stevo, I agree with you. Robbins is 100% committed to his message, definitely in the 90s, and I still think he is today. I agree. I think that he has a level of commitment to it, and his gusto and his enthusiasm has never broken through these years. So I honestly believe that he believes in the what he does. Let's see here, Destoni. That was my gut about Tony Robbins, but I get so suspicious of anyone who says they can change my life. What do you think about that, Chad?
Well, from the little line, they they word things the best case scenario, which
Mhm.
in life never happens. They
Right.
don't. Yeah, so they could believe it, but it's the best case scenario, which is one in 100 probably.
And I'm sure that he's helped people. I'm sure that there are people who have taken his courses and feel much better about themselves and their life and everything. I just me personally, that's not my kind of thing. I've always been a super chill kind of guy. I'm very confident and stuff. I mean, anybody knows me. I'm very relaxed, and pretty much if I want to learn something, I'll get out there and learn it. Let's see, Marianne Emilson. I'm a never in, but have followed cults for years. I got more involved after watching the SPTV channels. You all, oh, thank you so much. So yeah, and that's a big thing about it is tonight's episode is about fraud, and does does Scientology encourage that, or does it in some way lead to a feeling of it's not wrong to do it by its members? But it's also about the fact of watching for scams, period. I'm going to do another episode of Cop Talk probably tomorrow, and we're going to talk more about the Indian scammers uh, coming out of Calcutta and different places in India, and the huge call rooms that they have.
Oh
And
wow.
it's and we got Sid Whittle is in here, I believe. Sid, you said you're from Arizona. Welcome. um yeah, folks, thank you, Jenny. Make sure you hit that like button. Really appreciate it. It helps with those algorithms. And the thing is like I said, I don't do this for money, but I also want to make sure that the message gets out there and that everyone gets a chance to, if I can stop someone from being frauded or having their money taken from them, I'm all in. So that's how I feel about it. How do you, Chad, your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I love watching that. I think you're going to hit on something, Poe, because I do watch those scam bait channels,
Yeah. I mean, that's
and
that's
that's
that's a
great
big
what they're
thing.
doing. Sorry to interrupt. It's
Yeah.
great what they're
Oh, you're right.
doing to help people not get scammed, and they really go out of their way to try to get the money back for the people.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I love when I get them on the phone. I'll sit there and I'll hold them on there as long as I can. Why? Because the longer they're on the phone with me, the less time they have to scam someone else. So I'll get
Yep.
them on there, and I tell them crazy things, like I'll go through the whole spiel with them and all that stuff, and I'll go, but I don't live in the United States. I live in Thailand, and all of a sudden you'll just hear the phone click. But I've had a good day with having fun with them. The OT levels, whatever they are, seem a massive scam and seem to promote self harm as your money is drained. Well, that's been one of the big topics with a lot of people like Aaron and the former Scientologists who are out now talking about the amount of money. I think Leah Remini really put it out there very well when she's talking about the amount of money she's paid for herself and her family, how she would film King of Queens, and then on her days off she would fly out to Florida or wherever and would go for some kind of auditing session or something like that she had to do, and it was going to cost her another $100,000. And I forget what the total amount is, but I think it's somewhere, it wasn't like 7, 8, or $900,000 to reach certain OT levels. Chad, do you remember the?
That's Yeah. It sounds. I believe it's different for
Yeah.
several different scenarios, and the more you buy, I guess, the less money it is. But it could cost, like you said, up to $1 million to get to OT 8 or whatever.
Yeah. So, and folks, if you have any questions or comments, just do me a favor. I'm going to put it in down in the comment section there, how to do it. Just hit the caps lock, type in question with the little notation, or you can change it to comment. And, after you do that, then click the caps lock again. So it goes back to regular upper and lower case on it, and just hit your question there. So the topic for tonight is Scientology encouraging scammers? Are they encouraging people to defraud others? And I think that that's a very pertinent question with the fact of everything that's been going on with, we're hearing mostly about the Cardone brothers and the things that they were doing and the kind of, um, I don't know. I'm trying to be nice here and not get myself also caught up in a YouTube hit on things. But basically, with all the things that are going on with them, the known investigations and things like that. And let me clear some things up. I know some folks had some comments about Aaron Smith Levin. Last night, he was talking about about the Cardone brothers in a big article that came out about them. And the FBI, whether or not they could get confirmation from the FBI about the investigation and what was going on with it. And Aaron put it out there pretty clear, but I'll explain it to you from a law enforcement standpoint. If I'm in the middle of an investigation and someone comes up to me and goes, "Hey, are you investigating this person?" Then my response is going to be, I can't comment on anything like that. I can't confirm or deny. All right. And the reason for that is, especially if you're talking to folks in the media, they are going to turn around and you go, "Yeah, we've got a complaint in. We're looking into it. We'll see what's going on." Well, next thing you know, with the way that a lot of reporters work, is it will turn into, say, if it was me, Chief Poe confirms major investigation in the way into Clearwater Chad and whether or not it is coffee or water he's drinking in his cup. That's the way they do things, because they're going to sensationalize it to get more people to buy that copy of it and get more people to read that. It really bothers me, the fact that media has turned from actually reporting the news into more of a clickbait kind of thing, putting these amazing kind of headlines out there, like what was, I remember one, are there chemicals in your home that are going to kill your children? And then you find out that if your house was built on a fault line, on top of a gas line, on top of the water basin, and there had been an Indian burial ground under your house, you may have this kind of weird gas come up through the ground. And that kind of, it's that kind of stuff. We have someone who is not impersonating in here tonight. It is the Queen moderator, Boss Mama Goldie's in the house,
Goldie.
Folks. Thank you for being here, Goldie. We love Goldie to death. Everybody show your love for Goldie. She's awesome. Let's see. We have Lovett's in here. What's up, Lovett? Veronica Bombria. Let's see. Bruce Cantasesi. Is that correct? Let me know if I'm saying it right. And a lot of people talking about Tony Robbins in there. Well, I think that a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with a lot of these self-help kind of guru type people. They're always happy. They always got a great big smile. Who's that minister out of Texas who's got that huge mega church?
You're not talking about Farrakhan, are you?
No. He's always about love and peace and got a big smile. Joel Osteen. Okay. I look at that guy and I wouldn't trust him to take the trash from the house to the curb. That's my gut feeling. May he believe in what he's doing? I don't know, but I can guarantee you that big old house he's living in, he believes in the money he's making. So
who my favorite is, Poe, and most people probably won't remember him. And if you guys go back and watch the Clearwater Chad videos, you'll see exactly where I get the material. Tom Vu from the 1990s.
Tom Vu
from the 1990s.
Oh, was he the guy on the boats?
He's like a Grant Cardone. Yeah, he rented that boat for an hour, by the way.
Yeah, he was on the boat with the girls, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's him. That's Tom Vu.
I'm rich. You're not.
Yep, you're stupid. If you don't, if you don't have 2 hours to come to my seminar, you deserve to be broke.
I'm trying to find a photo of it.
Yeah, I parody him in the video. I don't really. This is the first time I'm really disclosing that.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot that guy. I'm so smart, you're so stupid. That
Yep,
kind of
yep,
guy. Yeah.
yep.
Unless you follow my course and give me your money, you never make money in your life. Yeah, he
Yep.
was crazy. Let's see here. Leanne, so sorry I'm late. I realized YouTube keeps unsubscribing me. That's another thing that's going on, folks.
Yeah, mine too.
The fact of it is I'm not unsubscribing you from my channel. All right. If that happens, that's going to be a glitch in the system there. So please don't think that I'm the one who's done it to you. That's to me, I wouldn't do that. I just think it's crazy. Sid, yep, Sid's from Arizona, and Sid, I was stationed at Fort Huachuca, so if you know where that's at, give us a shout out for it. Oh yeah, you have to watch motivational speakers. There are quite a few that were in prison, came right back out to keep doing tours. Hey, you know what you know how your bread's buttered.
Tom
So
Vu charged $25,000 to come to his seminar.
really,
Yep, not the free one. That's the
wow.
introductory one. Then there's one for 1,500, and then the other one. It started at 15,000, but eventually bumped it up to like 20 or 25,000.
And I wonder how many people actually went.
The one class it was like 300.
Dude,
That's how we got rich.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't even want to. Let's see, three times, so that's 700. What 300 people at $25,000 a piece is, what is that? Is that like
Almost
7 million?
I think it's almost a million. It's a lot of money, whatever it is.
I got my shoes on, so I can't count it out right now.
Oh, someone says 25,000. That seems low though.
Let's see, 20.
Oh yeah, 25,000 for one. Yeah, times 300.
Times 300. That is 7.5 million.
Oh wow,
folks. That is 7.5 million. My goodness. I think we're in the wrong business, Chad.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I got to be a motivational speaker, man. Loving your series on impersonators of police officers. Is hard to imagine it why anyone would think that's a good idea. Thank you so much, Destiny. Yeah, I'm having a real good time with it. I got more coming up on that, and like I said, I'm going to be hitting on the scam call centers that are mostly coming out of like India and places like that. Can we see each other's chats? I think we see the same chat, don't we, Chad?
I mean, if people are on my channel, they're only seeing mine. If they're on your channel, they might be seeing
okay.
both. I'm not really sure how that works.
Roxy, and welcome, Roxy. The more money you have, the more it costs you. They drag it out longer. Yeah. That's a question. Thank you, Denver Steve.
That's true.
But yeah, that's the thing. The more money you got, the more they're going to try to leech you. And Brock says Leah said she spent like $3 million. I'd love to have the $3 million to spend. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to have the
$3
million spent.
Think about how many electric cars you could have.
I know.
My goodness. And join us Wednesday night, Chad and I'll be talking about we'll be doing car talk again. This time we're going to be talking about kit cars, and I've got something that's just been burning a hole in my my thoughts lately. It's just been driving me nuts. Let's see, Nerman, the amount of money to get bridge superpowers in Scientology is a scam. All lies. Hey, that if I personally, I just don't, call me jaded, but someone who's going to sit there and tell you, I'm making all this money, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it so you can make money too. It just throws up red flags to me, because why are you going to tell people how you're making all your money, which means that they can go out and make money off of your idea, and if they're better than you, they're going to knock you right out of your own ballpark. Let's see. Mary, so you were a Scientologist and officer of law? No, I was never in Scientology. Most I ever did was I started reading Diabetics when I was Dianetics when I was a teenager. That's actually a parody book I made up called Diabetics, the modern science of dental care. But the thing, I was never actually in Scientology. My experience came from watching, as I said, Going Clear, the aftermath with Leah and Mike, and then getting involved with SPTV through Aaron Smith Levin. Let's see, Frisino Project. What really aggravates me, I knew I wasn't saying it wrong. Me are the scams that target the elderly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to be coming out with with that tomorrow night about the call centers and things like that. And it's just horrible. They literally are taking life savings away from senior citizens. Joel McCoy's in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And he says hi to Chad.
Hey, Joel.
So, well, let's get into this. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. Chad, if you see anything in your chat that you want to star out, go ahead and make sure.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out where we're going to start here because there are so many things that are, to me, it's just amazing.
No, Paul, you should be able to see everything in the StreamYard. It's just that people.
Oh, okay.
It's just that people can't, like, if they're in my chat, then they can't see your chatting people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mary, do you ever make videos exposing the link between Scientology and the police? That's going to be coming up. I've got some real serious reservations about things that I'm hearing there. Yes, it was hot, but it was different. I mean, here in Michigan, it gets 89, 90 degrees here, and it feels like the air weighs 500 pounds. Out there with no humidity, it just didn't seem the same. But yeah, you dehydrate a whole lot quicker. Anyone who else? Oh, thank you. Yeah. So let's look here.
Don't forget Poe and Rosino coffee coming soon, everyone.
Yeah, we're dealing with some trademarking and things like that right now. But nice. once we got that clear, my gosh, I can't believe how long these things take. But I'm one of those that I absolutely hate the hurry up and wait game. So, all right. Let's see. Can you leave the space to send email or text? Goldie, if you could put my email out there, yeah, you can send me an email anytime you want. So let's see. Hey, Vincent Giggles is in. It's been a while, brother. But been a while. Thank you for being back. Have you heard the worst mass murders in Canada? It happened in my province in Nova Scotia in 2020. RCMP impersonator. Wow, I will have to look into that, and that will be another great topic for police impersonators. Thank you, Vince. If you got a link to anything on that, shoot it my way, and I'll definitely get it out there. Let's see if we got anybody else before we get into this a little bit further. Belinda Brewer. My dad was a cop in Michigan. People say I have his attitude. Well. I don't think it matters where you are a police officer at. We all carry a certain kind of attitude with us. And I've said it a million times. It being a law enforcement officer, you're typically going to be an alpha type personality. So I'm just, most people tell I'm really chill. So I have that alpha. When it comes time to get to work, I get my butt to work. So let's dive into this. We're already 30 minutes into it. Let's see here. This one's pretty interesting. And this one's going to come from the Washington Post. And let's see if it shows it's not showing it right there. Madrid, that's going to be Spain. 71 arrested in Scientology probe. A judge ordered 9 people jailed Tuesday as part of a fraud and forgery probe of the Church of Scientology. 3 Americans, including the church's president, were among the 71 arrested. Judge Jose Maria Vasquez Onrubia said he was still questioning people arrested in a police sweep of the Scientology members on Sunday. The raid capped a 9-month investigation into complaints by Spaniards who said they had been bilked by the church. Wow. Let's see. Who is it that is the president there? Among those arrested Sunday was Heber Jensch, president of the controversial Church of Scientology International. It's unclear if he was still held, but he was among 3 Americans arrested, the judge said. Wow. Let's see. Include fraud. The judge says the charges that were brought would include fraud, illegal association, coercion, forgery of public documents, tax evasion, and failure to meet Social Security payments. That's pretty interesting. What do you think about that, Chad?
Wow, that is interesting.
I think that's a really, really, really interesting thing going on there. And let me go back and make sure when this was. Let's see. It's not even showing a date on here.
Wow.
But it had to be a few years back because we know that Heber has been pretty much in like a nursing home kind of setup for the last time. So a woman in Los Molinos Narconon Center in Madrid said people were undergoing treatment involving vitamins, exercise, and counseling. The program costs $1,600 a month. Spain's annual per capita income is less than 8,000.
Jesus.
Wow. What do you think about that?
That's a little over the top. They want to get every month.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
I want to know if they're expecting the patients to pay this or if they're expecting the government to pay for it. That's interesting because a lot of these programs in the US are going to have some kind of government payment into them. That's wild. And in a statement, the church condemned the raid. Whoever is behind these acts of harassment obviously stands to profit from increasing drug proliferation and addiction. That goes to the old statement: want to cover up what you're doing, accuse the accuser.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, we're talking, this is in Madrid, Spain. Let's see. Noam says it was in 1988, November 24th, 5 days before my dad. Why are all these things happening around my birthday? My goodness. I don't know much about the whole Narconon program that they have. It has never, in all the years when I had different organizations that help people with addiction, Narconon was never suggested to us as a reasonable or legit organization. I personally, without knowing back then, I wouldn't have known, and I'd have heard of Narconon, and I would have thought, well, it sounds legit. It sounds like one of those AA programs, and I probably would have sent people that way. So yeah, Anhata is November 24th, 1988, according to Noam Sane. Heber was arrested. So, but we're talking that's a while back. I was in the Army back then, so that was a long time. Wow. Roxy, where you live at, Roxy? Don't give us I don't want your address, just a state or whatever would be fine. Things have changed. Our local Narconon would charge 20 grand for the whole program. Wow.
It's a lot of money.
Wow. Yeah, and Nerman says 1988 when Heber was arrested. You're what, November 28th? I'm November 29th. So, wow. And it just seems like this whole thing, I keep hearing all these November dates that right around my birthday. Chad's heard them too. So,
yeah.
Let's see here. The Spanish justice system doesn't screw around. I guess not. I thought something I saw was really interesting was the French. They actually send a judge out on cases, and they have people who are judges who will go out and see whether or not there's enough evidence to actually charge someone with a crime. I thought that was really interesting.
It is.
Tony, sounds like you need a drug dealer to pay for it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. 12-step groups are cults, and they don't work very often. Huge failure rate, not evidence-based at all. I can tell you that, hey, Eva, I can tell you I personally know of a lot of people who've gone through AA, and they've come out with very good results. And they, to this day, I know quite a few of them who are still heavily involved in AA. They go to their meetings, their mentors, all those things, and they are, they're clear. They're not drinking. They're not getting involved in any of that stuff. And I can say personally that I think that as for that one, it seems like it's pretty legit. Um, and it depends on how you feel about different things. I know a lot of people don't want to do anything with a religion based kind of treatment program, and what works for one may not work for another. So it's all about. And sorry, I've got dirt on my shirt now because I can't got up to go get something to drink, and Chad and I were talking before we went live, and Roscoe had to come in and say hi, and he's been out with us all day working in the yard, and he so his paws were all dirty, and he got me pretty good. So all right, let's
Nice.
see here. Go ahead, Chad.
Oh, I just said, yeah, that did happen. That was funny.
Yeah. He sat there and pawed at the door till I brought him in here. I said, bring him in here and hold him on my lap. He's like, I don't want to do nothing. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. All right. So here's our next one. And this is pretty interesting. And this is from Mike Render's blog. And folks, if you want to you want to help out with Mike and everything that's going on with him, you can go right to it's mikerendersblog.org. And Goldie, if you have a link to that, if you could put that in there, hon. Cincinnati Ideal Org, Jenny Sonnefeld, bankrupt. One of the big names in Scientology, Jeannie Sonnefeld, Bogvad Franks Danilovich, has a pending bankruptcy proceeding. What makes this of interest? Was promoted to one of the most successful Class 5 org EDs, whatever that means. Here she is below, winning the birthday game as the executive director of the Cincinnati org. She was ED of LA before this. So there she is getting her award. Ooh, nice. Long history in the Sea Org, formerly married to Bill Franks, who was at one point the executive director of the International of Scientology, then to Jens Bogvad, the former executive director of the Munich org, when it was the biggest org on the planet, and then one of a handful of selected CMO international missionaries who worked exclusively for the Keebler King. After Jen, she married Dave Sonnefeld, who is a registrar at AOLA. If anybody can tell me what AOLA means. But what is interesting with this is, I guess, like many of the others who have touted themselves as expert on prosperity, couldn't follow their own advice. Some sort of karma. Her and her husband were the source of a lot of criminal registration tactics that have been used throughout Scientology worldwide. Reportedly, they were so outrageous, even Scientology couldn't tolerate their crush registration techniques. Jeannie and Dave were brought back to Los Angeles for ethics, justice, and justice handling. I heard she was on the RPF, but that is not confirmed. Well, let's see here. This is just showing who her creditors and all that are. But what I do know is from hearing from other folks, Aaron Levin Smith, Mike Render, and those, is that they were also reportedly involved in the credit card fraud and transactions that was going on, where they were literally getting people's credit cards, and if there wasn't enough money on there, they'd call up and pretend to be that person and try to get a higher credit limit on their cards, things like that. And those are the reports, and it goes back to the whole Chase fiasco that happened years ago and that kind of thing. And they were actually, from my understanding, it's been reported by others that they were actually teaching these practices for the other org people. Let's see here. Let's see. I thought I saw a question. Let's see from Friesino. If they lose their tax exempt status, will they make them pay back taxes, including? I would say no, because we have laws in this country. Basically, you can't grandfather. So they lose their tax status. They would have to, from that point forward, begin with all their tax that they owe. But anything before that, because they were exempt, unless there's some kind of regulation out there that I don't know of, but pretty much you can't grandfather something. So they, if it was a crime that was being committed and they were committing that crime all along, that would be one thing because you're not grandfathering it. That's just how it's been. But they hold that tax exempt status. So, okay, Mandy Gonzalez, and welcome, Mandy. And for everyone that doesn't know, Mandy is the creator of the famous ornaments that you can get, and
They look beautiful.
just some awesome. I keep hitting the daggone screen because I got big clumsy hands. Um, but makes those, and if you look over my shoulders here, you'll see the SPTV on one side hanging from the Telecaster, as well as the Team Mic underneath of the Explorer. The Team Mic, any money that comes in from that, as far as I understand from Mandy, goes directly to Mike Render to help with his payments. And folks, before we go any further with anything, let's remember, yes, Mike has a number of months that he can cover. The thing is that, what happens after that 6 months? So let's keep him in our prayers and make sure we keep thinking about him. And, we can't, let's just make sure we're trying to, help out as best as we can, because Mike has done a tremendous amount, put himself out there on the front line in this whole thing. His wife has been by his side the whole time. So, let's show, let's show him the love that he deserves. Mandy says AOLA, Advanced Org of Los Angeles. Well, they're getting fancy with their top things. Let's see. At the top of the Ideal Pacifica Bridges stands the new Ideal Advanced Organization of Los Angeles. Okay, provides advanced religious services to Scientology across the Americas. Wow, I guess you'd be pretty top notch to be working there, huh?
Yeah, sounds like it.
You were working out of the Boise org, Boise, Idaho.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I'd be out of the backwoods Virginia org myself, but pretty new project. Even if they got the tax exempt status falsely, that's the thing, is it has to be determined that it was. And the thing is that they gave them that tax exempt status, whether it was falsely taken or not. But that's just the deal there. All right. Let's see here. What's this one? I'm trying to get us on to our next one. All right. This one will be cool. And just to show you that this isn't an American thing. That's why I brought up the one from Madrid, and now I'm bringing up this one. And this is from 2009. A Paris Scientology fined $900,000 for organized fraud. A Paris court fined the Church of Scientology more than $900,000 for organized fraud, but rejected prosecutors' bid to ban the group from France, the Associated Press reported. And this is from Courthouse News Service. Eric Roux, spokesman for the organization's Celebrity Center, Los Angeles, said the group would appeal Tuesday's verdict. After a 3-week trial, a panel of the Correctional Court convicted the Church of Scientology's French office, its library, and 6 of its leaders of organized fraud. The investigation said the organization's obsession with financial gain drove some of the questionable practices it uses to keep members in a state of subjection. Wow. The underlying complaint was filed more than a decade ago by a woman who said she took out loans and spent more than $30,000 on Scientology materials after she was recruited in 1998. She claimed the group refused to reimburse her or let her leave. Her case was eventually consolidated with 2 others. What do you think about that, Chad?
Yeah, those are some serious allegations that they're going to have to answer for.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was in 2009, and they were found guilty of fraud and fined $900,000, almost $1 million. I wonder if that really made a dent in anything for them, because when you're talking about the amounts of cash that they have stockpiled, I'd be surprised. Let's see, Catherine. Okay, yep. Let's see. I think I got. Oh, wait a minute. You said you sent it on. Okay, then I just got. Oh, there we go. Yep, I got your email. Let's see. Looking here in Theta. Hey, welcome back. Let's see here. Okay, Joel McCoy, you have had the tax exempt for too long to ever think any retro or back stuff. It will take a bunch to get them to lose it. Write your reps. And that's exactly, and I believe Goldie has links for things like that. Write your representative. There are ways that you literally, there are websites out there that you can go to that will tell you who your representative is and what their email addresses are so that you can write them directly with emails and things like that. So, by all means, I would never tell anyone not to. Have at it, go right on to it. Now, on to our next one. This one is going to be from our bud Jeffrey Augustine, and he has the Scientology Money Project. And this was from February 14th, 2023. Scientologist David Gentili goes down in flames in pretrial phase of his U.S. federal criminal case. David Gentili and his co-defendants, Jeffrey Schneider and Jeff Lass, suffered a major loss today in U.S. federal court in the Eastern District of New York. All 6 motions to keep the government's evidence out of the criminal trial were denied. So they're basically they're under federal indictment. And let's see here. I'm trying to see if we have it down here or not. But they're under federal indictment, and they had made motions to try to quash evidence that was going to be coming out in the trial. And the judge says, no, 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 no. We're going to stand by it. Everything's good. Let me fix my seat, folks. Yes, I have ordered a new chair. I am waiting for it to get in. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of those Amazon Prime overnight deliveries, that's for sure. But I have ordered a new chair. So let's see here. What do we got? Let's see down here. Okay, love it. It seems other countries are willing to charge COS. Do you think the lack of charges in the U.S. is part because they're comparatively U.S. is so much bigger? There's, I think that for a long time, and this is my personal opinion on this. I could be 100% wrong on it. But I think for a long time, a lot of people in government and prosecutors, attorneys even, were all really, really worried about fair gaming. All right. I mean, look at what happened to the IRS. They went after bigwigs in the IRS, and they hammered them so hard, these folks actually gave them gave them the tax exempt status that they have now. Let's see. Okay. But the thing is that I think that a lot of people that were in the position who would be able to bring charges against them, they've been worried about that. They've been worried about, what are they going to say about me? I mean, when you see the videos of people that are walking out of the airport or someplace like that, and I keep going back to it, and they say things, are you a predator? Asking them questions. Are you still a predator? Are you still going after this? You still doing that? Saying absolutely horrible things. And that is, I think that plays a lot in the mind of the people who are going to be going after an organization like this. But I think that with YouTube, the SPTV network, and all the things that are going on, a lot of people are starting to lose that fear, and we're seeing things going forward. I mean, look at Danny Masterson. And then you have the David Gentilis, who is being federally prosecuted in the United States. So it is actually, I think that they're losing their power and influence that they once had, and people are no longer afraid of what's going on. Yeah, Mary, I love it too when criminals get caught. I love it more when evidence is presented and they're able to put those criminals behind bars. So, and yes, everyone, hail Xenu. So, let's see if we got anything else going on down here. Okay, so let's see. All right, that one will work. All right, so here we go. And it's not just the folks that aren't in that are worried about being scammed. It's people who are inside of it. Former Scientologist called police. When that went nowhere, she sued. Challenging the battle-tested church can be difficult. Defectors trying to prove their allegations. And this is from May of 2022. Before she sued the Church of Scientology for allegedly tracking her as a child, Valeska Paris, 44, tried to pursue criminal charges. She filed a 32-page affidavit with the Clearwater Police Department alleging forced labor and sexual abuse as a child in England, a teenager in Clearwater, and as a young adult in the church's free wind ship in the Caribbean. Okay, so let me break this one real quick here. Clearwater Police, unless there are very special circumstances, cannot do anything about England or the Caribbean. They can take the report and they can pass it on to the specific agencies there. All right. Now, if you are a child or a teenager and you're living in Clearwater and they begin this series and then they send you over to another country where it continues, there may be things there where those charges may be able to be applied. But as for the, for the most part, you can't enforce United States laws in England. You can't enforce them in the Caribbean. Now, if there's some kind of special, say certain areas like Puerto Rico or United States territories, yes, you can enforce U.S. laws there. You can put warrants out and have people extradited from those places. And even there are a lot of countries, I think even England, you can get an extradition for, but you can't enforce our laws for something that happens in another country. Let's see. I'm trying to get through. This is another long one. That's pretty interesting. Let's see. Scientology keeps extensive documentation on parishioners through a detailed system laid out by founder L. Ron Hubbard, Lafayette. Let's make it sure it's right. The church's one-on-one counseling auditing sessions are transcribed and stored indefinitely. Ethics files keep track of transgressions by church staffers and parishioners. And members are encouraged to write reports about fellow Scientologists' misdeeds and information that could be a threat to the church. And the thing is, talking with people like Aaron Smith-Levin, Vanessa from Degraded Daughters, these things don't go away. They keep them, and I understand they may actually be moving into the world of the digital age finally, where they are actually taking these and they're putting them digitally on, storing them into hard drives and things like that. But my understanding is that they still keep everything on paper. So here it is. We have someone that was actually a member of the church who was treated like this and handled like this. And you got to wonder what's going on. Okay, we'll get to you in just a second there, Jenny. I see your question over there. You have to think about things like this. If they're willing to do it to their own, what do you think what do you think they feel about people outside the organization? Chad, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it seems in my opinion that it's upper management that's really giving them the too high of goals, so they have to press to charge people's credit cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Are you able to star any of the questions on your site, Chad?
I don't think so. No.
So if you're not,
I'll let you know if there's something great,
Okay.
But no, yeah, I can't.
Okay. The word is getting out. I live in a small town. Until SBTV, my wife and I were the only ones who knew what it was. Now I know 20 people who do. The walls are closing in. Exactly. And folks, that's another way that you can help in this fight, is simply by putting the word out there and letting people know in your Facebook, your Twitter, your TikTok, and the different social media things, or just talking to people when you're out to lunch or something. Getting the word out there is the main way that we're going to be able to bring this down. The more people that know the truth, the more people who are exposed to what's actually going on, they're going to put it out there. So let's see. Looking here. All right, Jenny Wong. That's the one I was looking for. If I'm not mistaken, don't COS staff take members' credit cards, rack up a heap of debt to pay for them. And that's going to come down to, we have people who were former Sea Org members, former staffers, who say, yes, that actually happens. Not everybody's talking that's coming out. That's just a simple fact of it is that, there are a lot of people that are out who have never spoken publicly about about Scientology, and I keep trying to not use the word church when I'm talking about it. But there are a lot of former members, former Sea Orgers, things like that, who they're not talking. And they're number one is it could be that they're afraid. Number two, it's that, they still have family and friends in there that they're still trying to keep in contact with. So if they come out and they speak out about things, then they're going to ruin that ability to have that contact. So yeah, I mean, we don't know everybody's story that's coming out or what's going on with them, but once things, once they lose their power and they can't threaten people, they can't treat people like garbage anymore. We're going to start hearing the truth coming out and what's going on with how people are being treated in and out of the organization. And again, I'm trying to keep away from calling it the church. I just, how can you be a church and treat people the way that you do? I mean, if you're treating people like that, then the fact is that churches are supposed to be good. They're supposed to be working for the betterment of everyone, and it's not for the betterment of the church itself. So, and I don't just look at Scientology that way. There are a number of very big religious organizations out there that I think absolutely abuse the authority that they've been given through people's faith. So let's see if we're getting more down here. Yeah, and I think that's a great example. I'm actually going to get into that in just a little bit here, how they treat their own. Let's see here. Let's see. This is interesting. 2002. It's going to be December 21st, 2020. 2000. LA Superior Court. COS allegedly swindled their brain damaged client Raul Lopez out of 1.3 million. They noticed how much money he had paid from a car accident payout. When they convinced him to pay $30,000 for 2 ostrich eggs, his mother's signature was not required in order for Raul to obtain funds from joint accounts. That's pretty interesting. Then they persuaded it to buy expensive church literature courses and auditing as his best chance of regaining his that's sad. Jeez. If you're claiming that you're going to be able to help this person to get back to how they were before their accident. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, and welcome Willie. Children sign papers all the time. Never hold. Yeah, but that's the thing is, I mean, when you listen to Janice and you listen to Mark and Aaron and all the other folks who were Sea Org, how many of them were teenagers and not of legal age to be able to sign a legal document? So, I mean, I find that really interesting. Let's see. In a nutshell, Roxy, gain your trust, get all your dirt on you, take all your money or time or both, don't let you leave, and we'll use that dirt to you trustfully gave them. Yeah, and that's another point that, talking about an organization that calls itself a religion or a church, why are you keeping dirt or evidence on your parishioners? Why are you holding that and hold it over their heads? That's to me, I mean, still, that's not as sickening as what Noam Sane was saying about this gentleman who had been in an accident and had suffered catastrophic brain injury. That's just, my goodness, how much more, because the fact is, when he's got no money, is he going to be considered a degraded life form? Chad, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's over the top, taking all his money like that. It's not the first or second or third time I've heard that from people that they smell the money, it seems like, and they'll charge you more and tell you you're not done with this course until they'll keep dragging it out until your money's gone. It seems like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Trying to find it real quick here. Let's see. There was an actual video of a Scientology staffer or Sea Org member spraying a homeless person. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that is disturbing too.
I mean, this gives you an idea how how people are treated.
I believe it was one of their front groups.
It was in L.A. I know that.
Yeah, yeah, one of their charity groups, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I forgot what the article was, but
Let's see. The only thing I'm finding is like a 20-minute video on it. I'm not interested in doing all that,
yeah,
but yeah, there's actual video out there of, LA has a bad homeless population. It's very bad out there. And there's video of a member wearing Scientology garb standing in front of one of the buildings that they own with a water hose and spraying this person who is apparently homeless. I mean, come on. How much more? I mean, that's dastardly. I mean, this person, they're homeless. Who knows what's going on? It's well known that a lot of people who are homeless, uh, there's a lot of narcotic problems, there's a lot of mental problems, and you're out there spraying this person. And I think it goes to the fact that I would personally believe it goes to the fact in that someone like that is considered degraded. They're not real. Best way I can describe it is, to me, it's like saying you're not a real human being, so therefore you don't deserve my care. You don't deserve for me to treat you well, and that bothers the crap out of me.
yeah,
Your thoughts on that, Chad?
yeah, yeah. Same here. That's very disturbing.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the thing. They didn't want them in front of the building, as Leslie is saying. How are you? And Frizino, that's another excellent point. With all of the mental issues, the addiction rates, and all that, that could very well be a war decorated veteran who was homeless out there in front of that org doing that. Um, yeah, Colonel. Yeah, these degraded beings are not considered able, and I guess that would that mean, are they unable to raise money as a reason for calling this? In Theta, I think it's how the people under Hitler's command viewed the those of Jewish descent. It's the same
Yeah,
kind of sentiment that they don't actually consider them human beings, and um, therefore worthy of compassion. My brother kind of joked about escaping being chased to make a point of how awful they are. And I was like, actually, that happened involving a motorcycle. Yeah, with Mark from Blown for Good. It's very well known about his story of being on that motorcycle being chased down by the SUVs. It's worse than if they had just pretended they weren't there. So aggressive, and that all goes into what they call their tech, uh, where they are. If a person's being fair gamed, you're allowed to do anything to them, and the whole point of it is to completely debase that person, destroy them, and that's right in that tech that they have. So let's look into a few things here. First off, let's talk about how, you know are they creating this environment where it encourages these kind of actions? Well, when you think about it, you take a minor, someone under the legal age of being able to have full consent to sign a contract or enter into any kind of obligation, and you're having them sign billion-year contracts, become part of this organization where they're literally going to take these young people, and there are young people that are being reported as young as 10, 12 years old that this is happening to. You're treating them like adults because they're actually old souls in a young body, and you're making them work 12, 16, 20 hours a day. You're feeding them food that, from my understanding, is not even, you can't even consider it food, barely keeping them healthy at all, making them live in horrendous treatment. Look at the video Aaron Smith Levin put out, where it showed a in this hotel in Clearwater, Florida, owned by the organization, where they had these bunk beds made of 2x4s, and they were stacked 3 high. And I think the statement was 11 people per room. I mean, dangerous. If fire breaks out, natural catastrophe occurs, how do you get all these people out of that building safely and quickly? My question is, why isn't Clearwater or whoever's jurisdiction it is, why aren't they properly going in and examining these places and making sure they're up to code and that they are safe? Or Cal One, thank you for joining us, and I'll get to yours in just a second here. So you've got that. You're doing these kinds of things to children, and believe me, I'm going to be coming out with a live stream here pretty soon where we're going to be talking about that. You look at the people who are not org members or staffers, all right, because your org members and your staffers, they're pretty much getting all their auditing and their training for free. And as Orcal One says, charging them a freeloader debt when they leave. All right, you've worked these people to death for how long? You paid them $50 a week, I believe, as the allowance they're given. And in all tax reports, they're not employees, they're volunteers from tax statements. So if all this is going on and you're doing this to the people who are running your organization, how are you going to treat the people that you aren't? So every time you go to one of these big events that's going on, you're going on to one of the ships that they've got, and you're immediately, when you get there, you're handed, I believe they said you're handed a clipboard with a sheet on it, and you have to get signatures from people going down that sheet before you can go on to the next section. And everything appears to be about raking as much money, squeezing as much out of you as possible. These are their members. So think about it. If that's the kind of thing that you're taught as a member, and the next thing you know, you're out there and you're dealing with people in the public who are not members of the organization, and are you going to look at them with any kind of honesty, respect, or compassion? And so if you're being treated that way by the organization that's supposed to be your religious organization, your cornerstone, your grounding rod, and that's the way they treat you, how are you going to treat people who are not members? And that's, you come to the conclusion yourself. Are they encouraging people to run scams? Because if they do these kinds of things to their own people, how many times have we heard about members having to go out and buy the complete collection of this or the complete collection of that or the tech because someone forgot to put a comma in the right place? Someone forgot to put across a T, dot an I. So now the whole thing has to be scrapped and you have to buy a whole new collection at how many thousands of dollars? How many times have we heard about people having to buy brand new the auditing machines, the e-readers?
Yep.
So how many times have we heard about that? And, if you're treating your own like this, then I seriously am not going to show compassion to someone who's outside that organization if the organization I'm part of treats me like that. Joel McQueen, the police have got to have a good reason to do much. They do what they can when they can. In most cases, I think, remember, police enforce law. They have to have good info. True, but you have so many things like these videos that show that hotel and the conditions that people are being forced to live in that hotel. And that right there, I mean, if you have a ordinance enforcement person in Jackson who's going to go in and throw a fit and tell a business they have to take down the flags of the United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, they have to take those down because it's violating city ordinance because you have too many flags on the top of your building, then you would think that someone in the ordinance department has the time to go and check out these hotels. Someone who's in the licensing bureau would have time to go and check out these hotels, check out these situations. I mean, how many reports of child labor law violations do we have to have before it's enough? Child labor that then moves on to cheap adult labor. Exactly. U.S. taxpayer help fund this just because it's a so-called religion. I agree 100%. You start them off young, start building that work principle in them and how that they handle things. Look at guys like Aaron, like Mark, like Claire, how, and then you look at Janice and Mark Fisher. I mean, the work ethic these folks have is over the top. These folks work themselves to the bone, and that's what they got. So you start them off as a child, you start teaching them that way so that when they become adults, they're already infused and do it that way. Let's see. In Theta, pay was also dependent on production. There were periods of 6 weeks different people wouldn't get paid. My brother and I, for sure. I'm surprised you guys got paid. I hear so many people that talk about they were in there and never received a dime. You hear Leah Remini talking about taking plates off the table at the place where they were working as part of the Sea Org and eating what was left over that the other people hadn't eaten. And you hear this story time and time and time again. So again, I go back to, if you treat your own like this, you're going to treat those who aren't part of it even worse. And there's going to be no regard on it. I think that another thing is, let's see what Friesino's got. But apparently, if it's a religion, they can do whatever they want. There's a lot of laws that protect recognized religions. They have a lot of things, like, say, if you're someone who is being, churches can literally give sanctuary to criminal suspects and police can't go in. All right. So you have to be, but there's a reason for that, because in our Constitution, the way our laws are built, we can't, a lot of the people, everyone here in this country who's an American now, except for the Native Americans, they are coming in from countries where you were guilty until you proved yourself innocent. In countries where they could hold you to standards and they didn't have to be equal in how things were. How the churches, I mean, it's a great example of how one church was established because the king of a country wanted to have a divorce and was refused by another religious organization. So therefore broke off from that religious organization and created their own. So, these are the things that folks are coming to, when they came to the United States. That's how a lot of our Constitution was very heavily influenced by those things. No taxation without representation, different things like that. And it all goes into our Constitution. So, yeah, there may be certain things that they can get away with as religious organizations in the United States, but still there are criminal actions that they just can't get themselves out from under. And I'm going to be doing a live stream about how both Clearwater and LA seem to have severely dropped the ball on many things. And it would appear that there is some kind of influence that's on them. Leslie, good point, Poe. Child Protective, even the health department with regard to unsafe lodging conditions. Exactly. Desoni Salazar, my gut tells me that a lot of politicians don't want to open the door to oversight since that might shine a light. Yeah. And I mean, let's face it, there are a whole lot of politicians got some real dirty backgrounds. And, whether they want a light shined on it or not, sooner or later, it's going to come out.
And Poe, when you start taking that money, it's how do you back if you're a police department, it's how do you back yourself away from taking that dirty money, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing and, I'm going to get into this more when I do the actual stream about it. But the fact is that a lot, people come in and they want to be your friend and they want to help you out. They want to donate money to the department. And then suddenly you're getting that call 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, my brother got arrested for drunk driving. Do you think you could help him out? Wow. Those are the kinds of things that happen. I've seen it. And to me, it's mind numbing. Yep. And it goes all the way up to the top. Now, you got to think about politicians who are receiving these great donations towards their campaigns from these businesses and from these organizations. And you got to think, is that going to influence them? Well, yeah, it's going to influence them. This company went through a political action committee and donated $1 million to that political action committee, who donated $1 million to my campaign. And so, yeah, you're going to feel like there's some kind of obligation to that organization. It's crazy. The thing is the cop on the street, the 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 officer who's at the very base of that mountain, they're not seeing the incentive that's coming through. There's ways that they can, and I'm going to go through that on the live stream for that. We were taught in university that we have to quote as written, even in grammar, is wrong, and that's for political science degree. They usually sticklers for correct grammar. Yeah, that's it's crazy stuff. Let's see here. Let's see. We need to push for mandatory reporting for religious officials like they did in Washington State. I think here in Michigan, we have mandatory reporting. Any person who's a person of authority over another person, whether it be a political person, a school person, a church person, there is mandatory reporting. Problem is that oftentimes these people are so high up in the organizations, and there's so much cross between the organization and the actual criminal justice system that things don't often go. So, comment with respects to what you said about if you treat your members that way, doesn't realize the way he treats his people, how they are treated, is why everyone is escaping. I don't, I honestly believe he believes in what he's doing and is following the principles and the tech of the church, and that's why he's doing it. And I think that the belief is that the people who are running away just weren't strong enough or weren't truly committed in the first place. That's my opinion of it. I can't tell you what he thinks. I mean, honestly, we have nothing in common. I'm over 4'11", so I can actually reach up and get a glass out of the cabinet. Duncan Honig, about time you got here. So tell Double Tap we said howdy. So glad I was never in. So insane. But you were part of a different group. Wasted enough years in another cult. We need to educate people about critical thinking and cult avoidance, as well as expose and take down existing cults. And I've reached out to someone that that's what they do, is they help to train people against cults and things like that. And we're trying to get together so we can have an actual live discussion. That's a fact, politician. Oops, sorry about the caps. That's all right. Don't worry about it. It seems obvious. If someone underage reports to any church official, they should count on some action being taken. Yeah, the problem is that that's not a guarantee. Let's see. The U.S. started as a good idea. The reality is just a little more complex when trying to get past the problematic patterns when they benefit you. The fact is, it's not just the United States. It's every country in the world. People gain power. They don't want to give power. They want to keep, how is it someone becomes a member of the Congress or of Parliament or any other governmental institution, and it pays, let's put it out there, $100,000 a year as your salary as that person doing that political position, but yet after 2 years, you're worth $100 million. All right, that money's coming from somewhere, and it happens way more than anyone wants to admit. It happens in pretty much every country out there. So, okay. Thank you. I love it. Okay. Yeah. I think I might design something up for that. Hey, Keebler King. At least I can get a glass I can reach a glass from the cabinet without tools.
Nice.
Without a stool. So, and we've got, Goldie, insider trading, and that's another thing. I mean, you look at how it is. Congress has laws that says that they're exempt from the insider trading things. Congress writes its own paychecks. Hey, Juliana. They decide how much they make. They decide what is something that they can be held accountable for. And it's mind-numbing to me that we have something in place where the organization decides what their salary is going to be for the year. And I mean, I honestly believe it should be under the standards of, if what you're doing isn't progressing or doing anything to help the country, then you should lose part of your salary. Your pay should go down. If you're an elected official and you're not helping anything, you're only causing matters to be worse, and you're lining your own pockets, then you should lose your money. You shouldn't be allowed to make a salary like that. But what do they care when they're making all their money through lobbyists, donations to their campaigns, things like that? That's where, what did I do to my hand? That's the kind of things that we need to look into, is what's going on with that, and why more and more and more elected officials aren't being put in jail for the things that they're doing. I mean, we have people we've had members of Congress who've been directly implicated in murder. We have one who 40 some years later admits and apologizes for a death.
Wow.
Nothing will ever happen to that person. In fact, they made that person a legend. All right. So, I mean, we need things. We need to, I hate to say it, but we need to drain that swamp. We need to get them out of there. I think that's a great idea. Of course, nothing was ever done to do it. I think that it needs to happen. We need to, and I'm not talking about go in and, all that garbage on January 6th. I never supported any of that. What I believe in is we need to start voting them out. It's time that we broke the two-party system and we had more people out there, because you either have to align yourself one way or the other. What do you do when you're someone like me? There are things on both sides that I can agree with, but I can't assign myself to either party for it, because I don't believe in the rest of what they're spewing. So, and there's a lot more people that are sitting there like me who feel that way. So we need to make some changes. And I think one of the things that we need to be very cognizant of, and welcome, Sean Whitecotton, welcome. We need to start. Oh, wow. That was a good one. Where was that? I just saw a statement from somebody I thought really.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Roxy, tax exempt slave labor and abuses at taxpayers' expenses. I couldn't say it better. Yeah. Well, the thing is that I think that this all goes back to that. There's a movie that came out called Wag the Dog. And basically it's look over there at what's going on over there while I steal from here, or something wrong goes on here. And I blame our mainstream media for buying into every bit of it. I mean, how can you trust people that are sitting there telling us one thing is good for us when we find out that a corporation is paying them to be an advertiser and paying huge amounts of money, and they say brought to you by Clearwater Chad?
Yep.
Today's report: why listening to Clearwater Chad and the 10X program is best for you and your finances. Brought to you by Clearwater Chad. Does that not make it an advertisement that is designed to look like an actual news report? And they all do it. They either jump so hard left, they jump so hard right. I want news. I want to know the truth. I want to know the real factors about things. That's why I don't even watch them anymore. I watch, I learn a lot of things through YouTube, through the different websites that are out there that have no connection with any of the other garbage. So, yeah. Let's see. I just saw something from Destoni. The donation money puts us all at a disadvantage. Sorry about the political thought here. And normally I refuse to do anything about politics, but sometimes it gets my goat too, and I get upset about it. And then when I think about how this organization does things, and Chad, where can they get a mini Chad at?
Oh, if you contact Marilyn Honig at Coffee Crafts and Cults, she's pretty backed up with orders right now, but she'll work with you if you want one.
Well, you
Want to
need
buy
to get
one?
the whip out. Hey, Duncan, can you get the stick out? Get that woman working harder. All right. Double Tap's got no problem beating the pressure pad of a laptop to death. You know, get on that woman, make her get up there and start getting that stuff pushed out. So, no, we love Marilyn, and Duncan's a great guy. They're a great couple. They're family, and we love having them here. There you go. Love it. Yeah. Just tell me the facts. I'll figure it out. The media ignore issues such as, and that's exactly, I mean, look at how a lot of these things came about when there were people that were doing, and Friezino, I see your comment. I'm gonna put that up in a second here. When you look at things like they're going to bring out an investigative report, and so they turn around and they buy out a full page ad in there. Those are the kind of things you have to be aware of what's going on. And there's so much that is being presented to us as actual news and actual facts that are going on that seem more like they are actually part of an advertisement itself. So, Friezino comment, what happened to reporters like Woodward and Bernstein? I think they all sold out. When you find out that so many reporters are going through these courses that are paid for, when you watch these reporters are going through these courses paid for by a billionaire, and that person is directly affecting the way people look at things. Okay. To be fair, a lot of her double tapping is my double tapping from backstage. Don't matter. She's still getting caught up in it. Let's see. Well, Sean, it's both sides. That's the thing. Yeah, Destoni, you got it right. Finally, the truth comes out. Marilyn's been getting all the negativity, and it could have been Juliana doing it. But let's see. Wait. Why were my ears ringing? You know why they were double tap. So let's please. Stephanie, don't worry about your grammar. I have no college education. I'm lucky if I can type out a sentence without messing it up 100 times. Thank goodness for how these new programs are that tell me that my told me how bad my grammar is. If it wasn't for that, my goodness. Asked a question on Chad channel a while ago. Can you see if it would, or would you like to ask it for your channel? Put it in there. I didn't see it. I see most of them, but as you see, there's a lot of things going through.
It's going quick now.
Let's see here from Duncan Honig. And folks, I think we need a chat-a-thon for Duncan. I mean, this man seems so horribly abused and taken for granted, and I feel for Duncan.
It's funny.
That man deserves a Corvette. He's being denied it.
It's funny.
So when I was a kid, I had great faith in adults. They were the gods. But life has been very disillusioning. But I see that the good people are generally not in power. The corrupt are. Let's change that. I agree. But, the thing is that also you have to remember that the media and other things are the ones who are pushing for those folks. And when you only have so many options, it literally gets down to a situation of the better of two evils. Let's see here. Corporations act like psychopaths. They will use what they can for their own benefit regardless. Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, look at how many times that an organization has gone in and bought a thriving company, one of these big like hedge funds and things like that, bought a thriving company just to go in and sell off all the assets, sell off all the stock, brittle it down just so they can make a little bit of profit off of it.
Yeah. You know who did that, Poe? Mm-hmm. Not to bring electric cars into this, but Chevron bought the patents for the nickel metal hydrate batteries in the early 1990s and killed off the company.
There was a man, and I believe he's out of Texas, made a carburetor that you could do pretty much like 100 miles on a gallon of gas. And my understanding, he was at one of the big auto show things. He had a booth set up. Everything was going great. And this was before, when they were setting everything up. And the person who was telling me about this said they came back the next day and he was gone. His booth was gone. No one ever heard another thing from him. They said they finally ran into him like 10 years later. And they're like, hey, what happened? You were there and then you were gone. And he's like, yeah, they paid me $1 billion, bought my contract, bought my patents and everything, and I walked away. And they're like, well, what about, you could help. I'm a billionaire now. What do I care?
Yeah. I heard a similar. I heard that similar story. And the hydrogen car people, same deal.
Yeah, there's the guy out of France who made the car that worked on compressed air, and that suddenly disappeared. So it's very interesting. Marjan, and welcome back, Marjan. I think Scientology is doing money laundering. Well, there's a lot. I personally would like to look at the RICO Act on things that are going on in there, because I think that it's a very true point. It's easy for a corporation to act like a psychopath. People can be looked at as just a number and dehumanizes them. And that's exactly what happens when you have these stockholder meetings. And they're sitting there and they go, you could present it out there as much as possible. But when they're looking at their bank account and they're like, this needs more because I need more. I'm a simple person. I like I said at the beginning, I don't do this for financial gain. All right. One of the things I want to do is I want to get a better camera for doing my live streams and for doing recorded content. And I'm saving up. I'm on a pension. So I'm on a fixed income. I set aside so much each month for what I'm doing. And I'm just, adding to the savings for it so that when the time comes, I can buy that nice new camera and get things going the way I want. I'm not asking people for donations. I'm not asking for help or anything like that. And like I said, I don't do this for money, but there are a lot of people out there that's absolutely what runs their lives. So let's see here. What else we got here? That's something we're going to be going into on another one, Stephanie. The facts about the Danny Masterson trial and the nonsense that went on with the fair gaming with the Jane Does that's been reported. And there's also investigations into that. I believe there was a grand jury was actually called in and convened on that. So we'll see what happens. But just because you don't know that they're investigating it doesn't mean they're not investigating it. And like I was saying at the beginning, when I was talking about Aaron Smith-Levin in his broadcast, where he was talking about they couldn't confirm with the FBI about investigations, as someone who has been there as a detective, someone who's been there as a detective and had to deal with the media coming in and going, are you investigating this? What's going on with this? My response is I cannot neither confirm nor deny it. And so that's, it's not unusual. You're not going to get something like the FBI to confirm that they're, confirm or deny that they're doing it. Because if you confirm it, then what's going to happen is you're basically going to be giving the person you're investigating a heads up on things. And it gives them time to go ahead and start destroying or run or whatever. Let's see, Denver Stevo. I'm looking at a few different ones. I like the ones that are the mirrorless, things like that. But I'm also hearing a lot of great stuff about like the GoPro 10s. The only thing a good friend of mine, Dana Bluen from Idea Studio Bangkok, he and I were just talking recently, and I just saw something he posted where he's saying that he's absolutely done with GoPro because he wants nothing to do with their customer service. He says it's basically non-existent. So for me, that's a big flag I've got to look at, even though I've liked the kind of products that GoPro's putting out. I think Sony has some great cameras out there. I definitely want to try to get something that's less than $1,000, maybe something in the $600 range, $500 to $600. But we'll just have to wait and see what's out there and how things go. Let's see, Destiny. I've always wanted to serve on a grand jury. It seems so mysterious to me from what I've seen on the media. Let me explain to you about grand juries, because I've been there, seen them. Basically, the prosecutor comes in, they present their evidence, they ask questions. You're not allowed to have representation there. You're not allowed to make comments or statements about the evidence that they're presenting. It's basically about whether or not they have enough evidence at that point to bring charges. So that's what a grand jury is about. Let's see, Mandy Gonzalez. Do you think that due to the consequences for underperforming or not having your stats up helps people justify the fact that they have to? I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, you've heard the stories about folks who they have to sell so many products at the LRH's day he got his mole removed from his left pinky toe celebration. And we were talking about that, where you literally walk in, they hand you a clipboard, and there's a list of people that you have to go and get signed off from before you're allowed to go to the next person. I mean, my goodness, talk about leeching. Mm-hmm. All right. So, folks, if we got any more questions or comments, Chad, you got anything there?
No, this is fun though. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we. Yeah. All right, Joel. Will you be safe? Thank you for joining us. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and look for tomorrow night. I'll be back with another Cop Talk, and that'll be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be Cop Talks, and Wednesday night will be Car Talk with Chad and I. This week we're going to be talking about kit cars and a few other projects. Chad, what have you got coming up this week?
Oh, well, we're bringing back the pre-show tomorrow, so we're doing that by popular demand. So we're going to have new people on it. We're going to have some of the old regular people. We got Poe coming on. I was going to ask you, Poe, but you got a show coming on tomorrow too, right?
Is that same? What time is yours going to be?
Well, in Clearwater time, 5 to 7.
5 to 7?
Yep.
Yeah, mine's at 6, so I can jump in before mine.
Oh, okay, great. I'll send you a link.
Yeah. Send me the link. I'll be more than happy to jump in there.
All right, great.
Definitely get me in touch with Turi. I think that we could have a lot of great talk about the jets and things about aviation and all that, and how our government, what's going on with a lot of things. Folks, if you think about it, for how many years did you see people reporting about triangular craft in the sky flying strangely, and they couldn't figure out what it is, and then suddenly out comes the F-117 Nighthawk, the stealth fighter that is triangular in shape and only flies at night. So there's a lot of things that I think Tori and I could really talk about with that. I think that we could have some great conversations. So, and then, so set something up. I'll be more than happy to come on your channel and we can do that.
All right, great.
So, all right, folks. Again, as I said, we appreciate each and every one of you. We thank you so much for being part of this. If you are currently in Scientology and you're looking for a way out, the aftermathfoundation.org is the place for you. They will do it anonymously. They will come to you. They will help you out best as they can. The goal is to get you out safely, get you back on your feet, get you able to take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your needs. So please, if you are in Scientology, by all means, the aftermathfoundation.org. So folks, until next time, as always, life is short. We get one shot. Make it count.